She was forced to wed a mountain man in a coma, yet one kiss changed everything. Rain hammered against the windows the night Mira learned her fate. She wasn't crying, she had cried out all her tears months ago, but her hands trembled as her mother-in-law slammed a marriage contract on the table. "Sign it," the older woman hissed. "Or your family pays the debt with their land." Mira stared at the name written in bold ink. Calder Roth, a reclusive mountain man known for his strength, his wealth, and his silence. Except now, the entire valley knew he lay in a deep coma after a brutal logging accident. He couldn't walk, speak, or even open his eyes, and she was being forced to marry him. A living ghost. A man who couldn't object. A man who couldn't choose her. Yet if she refused, everything her father and younger siblings had would be seized. She didn't sign out of love, she signed to save them. But nothing could have prepared her for what came next. The marriage without vows. The cabin was beautiful, perched between towering pines and a roaring river. But inside, the quiet was suffocating. Calder lay motionless in the bed, a giant carved from stone, his chest rising slowly beneath thick blankets. His beard had grown in, shadowing his jaw, and the faintest scar traced his temple from the accident. Mira whispered, "I'm your wife now, though you never asked for one." She read to him, cooked meals he couldn't taste, tended to a home that didn't feel like hers. Every night she sat beside him, brushing his hair back, feeling guilt gnawing at her. "You didn't choose this," she murmured. "Neither did I." But something strange happened over the weeks. The cabin no longer felt hostile. The silence felt less like loneliness and more like waiting. And Calder, though still asleep, felt like a presence. Solid, protective, as if some part of him listened, fought, reached. Mira didn't know if it was madness or hope, but she began to speak to him as if he could hear her. About her childhood, about her regrets, about freedom, what it would feel like to have it. One evening, she confessed softly, "I wish you'd wake up just once, so I could tell you thank you. Even if you never wanted me." Her voice cracked. She didn't see his hand twitch. The threat returns. Just when Mira began feeling settled, her mother-in-law returned, angrier, colder. "You've been here for 6 weeks, the woman snapped. "He's not waking up. When his brothers take over the estate, they won't tolerate a useless wife. Sign over your rights now." Her heart slammed against her ribs. "I'm caring for your son." Mira cried. "He's not my son anymore," the woman spat. "He's a burden." As soon as she left, Mira collapsed beside Calder. "I'm losing everything," she whispered. "And I don't know how to fight alone." Her tears fell onto his hand. And for the first time, his fingers twitched again, more noticeably. Mira froze. Calder. Nothing. Just the steady rise and fall of his chest. But something inside her shifted. She wasn't giving up. Not now. Not after she'd found the strength she never knew she had. One kiss. It happened on a night when the first snowfall blanketed the mountains. Mira lit a fire and sat beside Calder, studying the peaceful curve of his lips. "I don't know why I feel connected to you," she whispered. "But I do." Maybe it was foolish, maybe desperate, but she leaned forward and pressed a soft kiss to his lips, her first kiss as his wife. A single tear slid down her cheek, landing on his skin. The room fell silent. Then Calder inhaled sharply. Mira jerked back, his fingers curled, his eyelids fluttered. Ira," he rasped. She stumbled, grabbing his hand, heart pounding violently. "You're awake." Calder. He blinked slowly, his eyes focusing on her as though memorizing every line of her face. "You've been here," he whispered, voice hoarse. "I heard you, all of it." Her breath hitched. "You weren't supposed to hear any of that." His lips twitched into the faintest smile. "I'm glad I did." Recovery, revelation, and reckoning. Waking up wasn't the end of the battle. Calder was weak, unable to walk at first, barely able to sit upright. But Mira stayed with him through every moment. He learned to move again by leaning on her. She learned to hope again by leaning on him. And soon, Calder discovered the truth. How his mother had forced Mira into marriage, threatening her family, using his coma as a weapon. Calder's jaw tightened. "She stole my choices," he growled. "But she will never steal yours again." When his strength returned, he confronted his family, brothers who were circling like vultures, ready to take the estate, and a mother who saw Mira as disposable. "Touch her," Calder warned, voice like a storm, "and you lose everything. She is my wife because I choose her." For the first time, Mira saw the mountain man not asleep, but fiercely alive. And fiercely hers. A new beginning. Weeks later, when the snows melted and the river thawed, Calder took Myra's hands and led her outside beneath the pines. "We were married by force," he said softly, "but I want to marry you again, properly, if you'll have me." Myra's eyes filled with tears. "Why would you want me?" He smiled, slow and sincere. "Because I woke up to your voice. Because your courage brought me back. Because one kiss changed everything." She laughed through her tears. "Yes, Calder. 1,000 times yes." He pulled her into his arms, lifting her easily now that his strength had returned. For the first time, Mira felt not trapped, but chosen. Not a burden, but loved. Final message. In the end, the story of a forced marriage became a story of healing and second chances. A story of two broken people who found their strength in each other. A story that reminds us, love isn't always found in perfect moments, sometimes it's discovered in moments when everything seems impossible. And sometimes, one kiss truly can change everything.